welcome it. If somebody has some, we'll try to make it an interactive session. And if somebody has some questions, we'll take it up simultaneously or at the end. Okay, let's start. Assalamualaikum. Let's start. Just read up this scenario. Our topic for today is acute abdomen, history of acute abdomen. You might be aware of taking in history of any patient in surgical or a medical ward. But when we come to an emergency department and we have to take a history of an abdominal pain and decide, is it a surgical patient or is it a medical patient, then there is some questions that we keep in mind. If you read up this scenario, just imagine yourself in an emergency department and you are seeing a 35-year-old patient who presents to the emergency department with 3 days of crampy abdominal pain and diarrhea. And he reports of subjective fevers, and on physical examination, he's tender to palpation in all quadrants of the abdomen. But he does not demonstrate on any rebound or guarding. What do you think this is? Is it a surgical patient? Does he need emergency surgery right now? We are going to answer all these questions at the end of this tutorial. As I asked before, do you think is it a surgical abdomen by reading up this scenario that I gave you? Yes or no? What is an acute abdomen? Does anyone of you have an idea about that? Well, a surgical abdomen is sudden onset severe abdominal pain of less than 24 hours duration. It has large number of possible causes, be it an inflammatory, be it a rupture of a viscera, be it intra-abdominal bleeding. It depends upon what the cause is. But main thing is abdominal pain. Abdominal pain of less than 24 hours duration, which has brought the patient to the emergency department. And it requires immediate and prompt management. The management may be surgical or maybe a medical. Most of the cases, it is a surgical management. If we come to the causes of acute abdomen, number one, the topmost, most of the patients who come to the surgical ER come with acute abdomen and they present with pain. So we have to evaluate pain of abdominal pain, but we need to evaluate according to the causes. The causes of acute abdomen comprise of hollow viscous perforation. Hollow viscous perforation, be it an appendicular perforation, be it an ileal perforation or a duodenal perforation or any colonic perforation, or hollow viscous perforation like the rupture of the gallbladder or any other thing, bladder. It also causes acute abdominal pain. What is colic? Colic is waxing and waning pain, which also causes acute abdomen. The biliary colic, the number one that comes to mind is biliary colic. What is biliary colic? When a stone is impacted in the biliary channels, like CBD, common bile duct, or any of the bile channels, then it causes a colicky abdominal pain, a waxing and waning pain that comes and goes, I have given you some links. You should look it up. I will give you time to go through them and then we will talk about it later. There is another pain, that is renal pain. When a stone gets impacted in the ureter, it also cause a waxing and waning, but a severe pain. This is called renal colic. Ischemic bowel or mesentery causes the abdomen pain that is diffuse, but that is very severe, and it does not have any effect to the analgesia that is being given. Bowel obstruction. Bowel obstruction also causes acute abdomen, but that is a separate topic, and bowel obstruction can be caused by any tumor. It may be intraluminal, causing by, or extraluminal by adhesions. The most important cause of bowel obstruction is adhesions. Number 3 is peritonism. What is peritonism? Peritonism is inflammation of a localized part of peritoneum. The peritoneum has 2 layers, the visceral peritoneum and the parietal peritoneum. When the visceral peritoneum gets inflamed, it causes a diffuse pain, and it is localized to the organ that it is under or over. But the when parietal peritoneum, it causes a referred pain. We'll discuss about it later. How to take a history? For taking a history of any of the anybody's history, first you have to introduce yourself. You must maintain the ethics. Introduce yourself so that the patient is comfortable with you. Then take the consent. Then maintain eye-to-eye contact while you are taking the history of the patient. Don't write things down, or don't try to memorize things. Just talk to the patient so he gets comfortable, and you gain his trust, and then then he gives you a proper history. You should start with biodata, name, age, gender, where he lives. That will give you a proper socioeconomic status, and some areas also has specific relations to the disease. Then you will also have to see the date and time when you are seeing the patient. You are seeing the patient in an emergency department, or you are seeing the patient in an outpatient department. The primary symptom of acute abdomen is abdominal pain, and we are going to talk about it right now. How do you evaluate abdominal pain? Site of pain. We will talk about Socrates. Socrates, the site of pain. The site of pain, if you divide the abdomen topographically, it has 4 quadrants: right upper quadrant, left upper quadrant, right lower quadrant, and left lower quadrant. And the viscera present beneath these quadrants have specific history. They generate a specific history and specific type of pain. Site matters a lot. Either it is an epigastric pain, or it is a right-sided, right hypochondrial pain, or a left hypochondrial pain, or it is a supraumbilical pain or an inguinal pain. Site matters a lot because it tells us about which organ are we talking about. Onset. We come to onset. Onset is sudden onset. If we have a perforated peptic ulcer, that is a perforation in the first part of duodenum, it will cause a severe onset pain and a sudden onset pain. But if we have cholecystitis, that is inflammation of the gallbladder, which happens in the right hypochondrium, then it has a gradual onset pain, right? Then characteristic. Characteristic of a pain is very important. Either it is a dull pain, that will tell us about the solid organ that is involved, visceral organ. Either it is a colicky pain, that also comes in the character of the pain. Colicky pain indicates hollow viscous pain. Hollow viscous pain. When something gets stuck in the hollow viscous, it causes a colicky nature of the pain. And then there is a stabbing pain. When pancreas is inflamed, pancreatitis happens, it causes a stabbing, just like somebody is putting a knife in the epigastrium and it radiates towards the back. We will talk about radiation later. Then there is a dull ache. That kidney pain causes dull ache, right? There are a variety of characteristics. Then radiation. When does radiation happen? Like in acute appendicitis, the pain arises around the umbilicus. Then it radiates towards the right iliac fossa. It depends upon the embryological innervation from where the organ is arising. The dermatomal supply that happens. That is radiation. Radiation of gallbladder comes at the tip of the shoulder. Of the spleen goes to the shoulder tip as well. And associated symptoms, in associated symptoms there may be weight changes, as we talked about that the obstruction caused by a tumor will also cause weight changes. There will be a loss of weight. Associated symptoms can also include fever. Fever can be high grade, can be low grade. In appendicitis you won't get a high grade fever, it will be a low grade fever. But when there is a liver abscess present, it will be high grade fever. Diarrhea is also an associated symptom, and constipation, bright red rectal bleeding, melena, vomiting, hematemesis, dysuria. These are all associated symptoms of abdominal pain. There might be others as well. Vomiting is most important, nausea is most important. That tells us about obstructing. Time, that is sudden onset or gradual in onset. The sudden onset pain, as I told you, needs immediate treatment, while the gradual onset pain tells us that the disease process is going on for a number of time and now it has maintained a certain plateau. What are the exacerbating and relieving factors of that abdominal pain? And severity. Either the patient can, you can measure the severity by giving him a scale of 1 to 10. What severity does it have? If you tell him that you can measure the severity between 1 to 10, then he will tell you it is 2, then it is less severe. It is 5, then it is moderate. And if it is 10, so it is severe. The patient would not be able to carry out his household works. Types of abdominal pain. Basically, there are 3 types of abdominal pain: the visceral pain, parietal, and referred pain. The visceral and parietal pain are in reference to the peritoneum, parietal or visceral peritoneum if it is involved. Visceral pain, due to stretching of innervating the walls of the hollow or solid organs. It occurs early and it is poorly localized, and it can be due to early ischemia or inflammation. If we give an example of it, then we can have the example of cholecystitis. That is a visceral pain, matlab that is the inflammation of gallbladder. Or hepatitis, that is also a visceral pain. If we come to parietal pain, it is caused by irritation of the parietal peritoneum and it occurs late. It is better localized and localized to the dermatome, superficial to the painful stimulus. For example, an appendicular pain, a pain of acute appendicitis, is localized to the right iliac fossa. Referred pain is felt at a site away from the pathological organ, right? And usually ipsilateral to the involved organ, and is felt in a midline pathology if the pathology is midline. Pattern is based off the developmental embryology, from where the organ has arisen. For example, like the pain of acute pancreatitis, inflammation of the pancreas, is felt at the back. It is in the midline, but is felt at the back. The referred pain of acute appendicitis is felt initially at the umbilicus, and then it is referred to the right iliac fossa. As I have shown this slide to you before, topographically, the abdomen is divided into 4 quadrants: right upper, left upper quadrant, right lower quadrant, and left lower quadrant. And it generates the hypothesis that there are some organs that will cause abdominal pain. If we get a right hypochondrial pain in the emergency, a patient has come to you with pain in the right hypochondrium, and this is a colicky in nature, and he has fever, he is vomiting, he says he is also nauseated. So what would come in mind? You will think of organs that are present here. And the first thing that comes to our mind is the liver or the gallbladder. As it is a colicky pain, then it is a hollow viscous that is involved. That is, it is the gallbladder that is involved. So, right iliac fossa, right hypochondrial pain can be of cholecystitis. It can be of pyelonephritis. It can be ureteric colic, hepatitis, or it can be extra abdominal, like pneumonia. Then Right lower quadrant, the appendicitis, ureteric colic, inguinal hernia, UTI, gynecological, and testicular torsion. Then in the left upper quadrant, you have stomach. So there may be a pain of the peptic ulcer, pyelonephritis, ureteric colic, pneumonia. Epigastric pain can be of either myocardial infarction, it can be of pancreatitis, it can be of any chest infection. These should be kept in mind. Left lower quadrant should be diverticulitis. Diverticulitis are diverticula present in the colon, and if they get inflamed, they call colicky pain, that is diverticulitis. Ureteric colic, you all know a patient coming in with a stone in the ureter will be very severe, and that will cause ureteric colic. Inguinal hernia, when it gets obstructed, it causes pain. Inflammatory bowel disease, UTI, gynecological, and testicular torsion. Apart from these, as I said, epigastric region, peptic ulcer disease can cause pain, abdominal pain, cholecystitis, pancreatitis, myocardial infarction. Periumbilical areas can cause small bowel obstruction, appendicitis, and abdominal aortic aneurysm. Apart from taking history of pain and its associations, what else do we have to keep in mind? We have to keep in mind the disease. We are going to make a diagnosis. So we have to take previous medical conditions. Either the patient is admitted for anything, and we have to take history of surgery. If either the patient has any surgical procedure done before, and also drug history. Because when a peptic ulcer perforates, it is because of excessive use of NSAIDs. Pancreatitis can be caused by a variety of drugs as well. So so drug history is important. Liver diseases, renal diseases, diverticulosis, GI pathologies. Then we come to social history. Alcohol use, illicit drug use, tobacco use, socioeconomic stress, financial concerns. We have to take the social history of the patient. Previous abdominal or pelvic surgery, sexual activity, family history, we have to take all. How to approach a patient? After taking the history of the patient, we have to decide. We have to decide, does this patient need surgery? Obviously, after taking the history, we have to do physical examination of the patient, and then some X-rays and radiological investigation that would help us diagnose the case. The approach to the patient should be, does this patient need surgery? How soon does he need surgery? And is there any additional workup necessary? Let's proceed to case-specific history now. I have given you case scenarios. I have shared with you. Does anybody, did anyone go through it, the scenarios? Did anyone go through the scenarios that I just shared with you on group chat?
चैटिंग ना मोड पे जाके देखे, मोड है ना, मोड लिखा हुआ है
जी,
हाँ उसको खोले, उस पे चैटिंग आ जाएगा।
हाँ मैंने किया है। उनके पास गए ही नहीं है बस। They are saying there is nothing here, मैम।
दोबारा भेज दें, वो खुली हुई आपकी जीमेल?
जी
हाँ दोबारा भेज दें।
यहाँ से कॉपी पेस्ट हो सकता है? सर
वही से आपकी जीमेल खुली है,
यहाँ से भी भेजा जा सकता है जो ये ऊपर हुआ है।
एक मिनट में आ रहा हूँ।
मैं फिर नहीं
That right there is $785 worth of textbooks. You're going to be asked to purchase a lot of these for when. Hi, Danielle.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. My name is William English. I'm one of the surgeons in the clinic today. You've been sent by your GP because you've had some abdominal pain. Is that right?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
It's been going on for like a really long time now, like 2 months.
Okay.
It's like here.
Right. Sort of on the right-hand side
Yeah.
and up towards the top.
Yeah, like just where my ribs stop.
Okay. And what kind of pain is it?
It's like really sharp.
Okay. Sharp pain. Does it move anywhere?
No, it's
Just
there.
stays there.
Yeah.
Okay. And how bad is it?
At the moment, it's like not that bad.
Okay.
But after I've eaten,
Right.
it gets much worse.
Okay. Do you find that it's associated with any kind of food?
नहीं
Food, or is it all food?
And like the more unhealthy it is, probably the worse the
Right.
pain is.
So fatty foods.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you were to give it a scale out of 10, 10 is the worst pain in the world. When it's at its worst, how bad is it?
Like 6, high 6.
Okay, so pretty bad.
Yeah.
And do you take painkillers for it?
Yeah.
Do they help?
Yeah, a bit, but it like never goes.
Never goes away completely. Okay. And when it is there, does it come and go? Is it kind of like waves, or is it constant?
Yeah, it's like it'll
waves.
come and then
Go away. Okay. Ever had this pain before?
well, just for the long period.
Just for the last 2 months, but prior to that, no. Okay.
I'm sorry, there are some net
Otherwise,
issues.
yourself.
That is why you're not getting the video. If anybody gets the video, just let me know, please. So I will send more. If I'm going to share the videos, you will not be able to hear the videos properly.
If you feel well,
Got one?
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Then I'll
fever
share
or
more bits.
vomiting.
No.
Bowels are okay? No diarrhea or constipation? No. Okay. And your weight is all right?
Yeah.
And appetite otherwise is fine?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you suffer from any other medical problems?
No.
Nothing at all? Don't see the GP for anything? Don't take any tablets every day?
No.
Any allergies to anything?
No.
Do you smoke cigarettes?
No.
And drink a lot of alcohol?
Not a lot.
Not a lot, just a small bit.
Yeah.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a receptionist.
Okay, right. And in your family, any trouble with the bowels, or ever heard of anyone having trouble with their gallbladder or their liver? That right there.
I don't think so.
Not that you know of. Okay. Right, so what we'll need to do is do an examination and do some tests, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Hi, Amelia. Hi, Jane. Here's $785 worth of textbooks. You're going to be asked to purchase a lot of these for... Hi, Jane.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. My name's William English. I'm one of the surgeons. I've been asked by the A&E team to come and see you because you've got some abdominal pain. Is that right?
Yeah.
Tell me what's brought you into hospital.
I've got this.
Nuruddin.
Appendix for the history of perforative diagnosis of the acute appendicitis is made primarily on the basis of history and physical findings and the additional assistance from the laboratory examinations. A periumbilical pain followed by anorexia and nausea, and pain is shifted to the right lower quadrant, that is right iliac fossa, and there is fever, and usually it perforates. Here it is written within a week, but no, it does not. It may perforate earlier as well. It depends upon the severity of the disease. It depends upon severity of infection. The second video I sent was of acute cholecystitis. The pain is associated with cholecystitis is usually constant and prolonged greater than 6 hours, and which in this case it is also typically worse after meals and associated with nausea, vomiting. And even though this patient does not have jaundice, low grade fever, Murphy's sign is positive. You will go through the examinations tomorrow, so you will understand these things better. The history of acute pancreatitis that I also sent. The patient's risk factors would be cholelithiasis and presence of biliary pancreatitis. The symptoms would be nausea, vomiting, pain after eating, pain radiating to the back, and improvement while leaning forward. That are the important points in the history. And the presence of right upper quadrant pain and positive Murphy's sign. That makes the diagnosis less likely than cholecystitis. This was another case scenario that I wrote, that I deleted it, so forget about it. Just remember that nausea, vomiting, pain after eating, and pain radiating towards the back, and improvement of pain on leaning forwards are the common causes, common things that are present in acute pancreatitis. Then there is biliary colic. You have to differentiate between. I sent you a video of that as well. There is a difference between biliary colic and acute cholecystitis. If the pain subsides and it comes again, then it is biliary colic. When the pain subsides, the patient is perfectly fine. And the pain of acute cholecystitis, it stays there. It decreases, but it stays there. And patient has fever and nausea, vomiting. Ectopic pregnancy is also intra-abdominal bleeding when the pregnancy is not in the uterus. The fetus is not in the uterus, but it is implanted in one of the tubes. And then it ruptures. It causes bleeding in the abdomen. It has severe presentation. The patient will be anemic. The patient will present with acute abdominal pain, lower abdomen, and she would be pale. She would be in hypovolemic shock. This is another history that I sent you. Okay. Okay. One thing more I wanted to share with you is that this is all that I have to show you in the slides. One thing more I wanted to share with you is another link which will show you a proper way of taking the history and again a presentation, examining the patient. I will send it, as we cannot show you because of issues in the net. I will send you the link. See if you can get it. Get this link as well. This is all for today. I hope you guys benefited from it. And if you have any query, you can write to me at sumaya.saeed@duhs.edu.pk. I will be happy to answer questions, as it is not possible here because of lack of time. Anything else? Anybody wants to ask something? Okay then. Then Allah Hafiz from my side.
एंड करें मैं